Hi, my name is Freckled Cupid. I am a new Critical Role fan, and Campaign 4 is the first campaign that I am getting to watch in real time, and I'm very excited. Now, we just had Session 1 this past week. It is getting to release to the public on YouTube on the day that I'm filming this, actually. And we're already seeing a lot of theories running around. People trying to figure out the weird fucking family tree between Taisha, Hal, and Thiazi, because what's happening there? People trying to figure out what the Falconers' rebellion is. People theorizing which characters' classes may not be what they say they actually are. And, of course, what's most important to the internet, who's gonna get together first? Now, I, in my own campaigns, am a bit of a note taker. So I have got a notebook that I'm gonna be keeping for this Critical Role campaign. And in keeping that notebook, I noticed something interesting. Welcome to my bird theory slideshow, which I've affectionately titled, I'm Not Crazy, I Swear It, by Freckled Cupid. That's me, in case you can't tell. That's what I look like when I'm doing this shit. So, as we all know by now, Critical Role Campaign 4 is being DM'd by Brennan Lee Mulligan, introducing us to the world of Ahriman. Brennan Lee Mulligan, if you don't know, is a member of Dropout. He has been the DM for multiple seasons of Dimension 20. He's wonderful. I know him very well as a Dropout fan. You know what I know Brennan Lee Mulligan loves more than almost anything? Birds. He loves his bird facts. This is him listing out a bird fact. He is ornithologically inclined. Now, that means that it's no surprise that in Session 1, we get multiple mentions of birds. We get multiple mentions of falcons, which makes sense, seeing as Thiazi, Teor, and Azune are all former members of something that seems to be called the Falconers' Rebellion. We only get one other type of bird mentioned by name. Only one. We get no mention of hawks, we get no mention of sparrows, anything. We only get one other bird that's mentioned by name. And do you know what bird that is? It's a magpie. Now, I don't believe it's the scary Australian ones. I believe it's the British ones, which I will explain. So, there is a British nursery rhyme. I'm going to say nursery rhyme. I don't know if it's a nursery one. That is titled One for Sorrow, that lists out the different luck that certain numbers of magpies bring for you. The most popular variation I can find is 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret to never be told, 8 for a wish, 9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss. But this is an incredibly old rhyme. There are hundreds of different variations. This variation, I believe, was popularized by some British children's television. But there's so many variations, including, notably, a variation from Lancashire that goes all the way up to the number 13. How many members are in Campaign 4 again? How many players do we have? Oh, that's right. We have 13 of them. 13. Now, I have compiled a version using multiple variations based on what I think fits the characters, not necessarily what rhymes. So I have a compiled version that doesn't rhyme, but I think is worth looking at, which is, so the version that I have made is 1 for sorrow, 2 for a joy, 3 for a wedding, 4 for death, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told, 8 for heaven, 9 for hell, 10 a surprise you should not miss, 11 for health, 12 for wealth, 13 beware, it's the devil himself. Now, if you've watched the first session, then that last one is gonna be interesting to you, I feel. That's the one that kind of sold me on the whole connection. But if you haven't watched, that's okay, because I have them compiled into the list of when they showed up in the campaign. Not when they showed up to the funeral, because I couldn't get it to line up that way, so I think it's when they show up in the campaign, including the cold open. So, first of all, we have Hal. Oh god, this color balance is going to be off. I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. But for 1 for sorrow, we have Hal, which of course makes sense. He is attending his brother's execution. That one is obvious. Now, we're into the first interesting one already, which is 2 for joy. Or it could be luck, which is Azune. Which I don't know. I could be crazy. Also, this entire theory could be wrong. But also, it is worth noting that the magpie rhyme is about what they bring for you in the future, not necessarily what's applying right now. So, keep that in mind as I keep going. So we have Azane for 2 for joy, or it could be luck. Taisha for a wedding. Makes sense. Makes sense. I don't think her and Hal are married, but she's still very much the matriarch of the group. So I think that makes sense. Back to another one that makes total sense, which is 4 for death with Octus, our little necromancer himself. Obviously. 5 for silver. I don't entirely know what this one means quite yet, but it is worth noting that Teor is described specifically as having silver fur at some points. So there's that. We have Wick for 6 for gold, which could be referring to his family's wealth, or could be referring to something that we will find out in the future. I'm so sorry about the calorie balance of this. I don't do YouTube. Now, we have 7 for a secret to never be told from our little tiefling warlock Tyranny herself, which I think we already all know is gonna be interesting. That one makes sense to me. 8 for heaven, which is for a little pixie who descends from the realm of Fae. So it could be argued, that's representing heaven in this. I don't know. This is all a theory. It's a critical role game theory. 9 for hell for Cadigan, who we know literally nothing about so far, other than that he is a wolf. So, that'll be interesting. 10, a surprise you should not miss for Belair. I think that just makes sense. I don't think anybody's surprised that this one, I think, makes sense for Belair. They're very interesting. I'm very excited to see what's up with him. My little museum guy. 11 for health, Julian. Don't know what's up with that one yet. 12 for wealth for Murray, who to me seems like could be a performer who's quite rich, has jewels encrusted in her teeth. So that one makes sense to me. 13, beware, it's the devil himself with Valus, who to me is the most interesting of the group so far because just her entire vibe is crazy. Her entire vibe. Now, what does this mean? Probably nothing. I like birds. I like birds a lot, and I know Brennan Lee Mulligan does, and when I heard him mention magpies 3 or 4 times, I thought it would be worth looking into. So, again, I'm probably crazy, and this probably means nothing. What my working theory is that this applies for some characters, but not all of them. I think that it's worth listening to simply because of how some of them line up. I think 4 for death for Octus is crazy. I think 13 beware, it's the devil himself for Valus is kind of crazy. And I don't know. Brennan Lee Mulligan's very intentional. I cannot see him mentioning magpies specifically by name for no reason. Now, I have some predictions based off of session 1, because as I said earlier, I'm a note taker in my own campaigns, and I think it would be fun to list out my predictions after each episode just to see what happens. So my first prediction, which is based off of my magpie thing, is I think Azane is going to be a traitor of some kind. Somebody has to be with 13 players at the table. Somebody has to be the one who led to Thiazi getting actually executed and to their plan not working out. Now, theory number 2, I think that the Halavars became priests to get around the magic ban, because it is seeming like magic is illegal in this world, considering Thiazi was arrested for arcanism, I think is the term that they used, and then Octus mentions to somebody after they see him using magic, he's like, you're not gonna snitch on me, right? And then it's mentioned later in the session that the Halavars very suddenly became very priestly. And my theory is that they became religious figures so that they could use magic legally. Which leads into another theory that I forgot to put on here, which is that I don't think Wickender's going to stay a cleric, which I think everybody thinks. I believe that Octus is working on a plot against his family. I believe that's partially what Thiazi got caught for, was a plot that Octus was helping them plan against the Ticonis family, question mark. And then, since everybody seems to care so much about romance at all times, I believe Wick and Octus are going to end up together at some point. I don't know. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. So, to wrap it up, basically, Brennan Lee Mulligan loves birds. That's really all that this theory means to me. I think it will be worth it to listen to future bird species that may be mentioned and to look into the history and symbolism behind them. I don't think he's an unintentional person. He mentions things very purposefully. So even if my one for sorrow theory means nothing, I think that it's a sign that you should be listening to everything that he says if, like me, you want to figure out what's going on before the players do. So, signing off, this is Freckled Cupid. This is my crazy bird theory video. I don't know, maybe I'll make more Critical Role videos as each session happens. We'll see. All right. Have a good day. I hope you roll well.